Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back. So today I will be doing the top 10 questions that I've been asked so far about my GE Profile washer dryer combo. I've, gone through a lot of the comments in my social media and I feel I've actually been able to compile a pretty good list for all of you. If you're in the market for buying one of these, you're thinking about buying one, or maybe you own one and there's just some things that you're just not sure of, this is the perfect video for you. But without any delay, let's go. So the first question is, can you use dryer sheets with this thing? And the answer is absolutely. But there's an additional step that you're gonna have to take to do that. There's two ways to activate this, but there's a button here called the Wash Complete button. You can press it on the machine or through the app on your phone. And what that will do is it will send a notification to your phone when the wash cycle is complete. It will pause for a few minutes, and that will allow you to insert your dryer sheets. But let's talk about dryer sheets. So with this thing, I have yet to use dryer sheets since I've owned this machine. I know a lot of people have been asking about static cling and all that. That has not been an issue with this. So I would say if you purchase one of these, just give it a try for your first couple cycles without a dryer sheet. And you will find quickly that you do not need them, saving you a little bit more money. But yes, no dryer sheets are required, but yes, you can use them if you want. This also goes into a lot of people. It's a kind of a two-part question. A lot of people ask, like, well, what if there's some certain things that I don't want to dry? Same concept. It'll tell you the wash cycle is complete. You can open up the drum there, open up the door, take out the things that you don't want to dry, close it back up, and start it up, and you're all good to go on that realm. All right, next question. So how long does a wash-dry cycle take? And it depends. It really depends. I'll kind of dig a little bit deeper into that. So we got the machine turned on already for you. But as you can see, it's set on roughly an hour and a half. That's based off of how long the last cycle took. So you're looking at a wash cycle of roughly 1 hour and then a dry cycle of roughly 33 minutes. That won't be the case with every load of laundry that you throw in here. This thing it uses smart sense technology. So basically it has, sensors in the drum here, and it's constantly sensing just how dry your clothes are. And if the dryer senses that, like, hey, these clothes are dry, I don't need to continue spinning, it will stop the cycle completely. In which I know some people are hesitant about that because, I've used some front loading dryers myself that had, supposed smart sense technology, and it would stop, but my clothes would be soaked still. But this thing, I've had no issues. This thing has been awesome. My clothes have come out completely dry every single time. No issues whatsoever. But yeah, back to the wash dry cycle. So like I said, I've gotten a load done, so to speak, in as little as an hour to 2.5 hours. So that ranges from, like, just the quick cycle here that takes roughly about an hour. That's just for a very light load of laundry, just a couple of things, all the way to 2.5 hours, which that's to wash and to dry. That's not just the dry cycle. We're gonna harp on that again on this video. But 2.5 hours, and that was to wash a king size duvet. And yes, a king size duvet, king size bedding does fit in this thing just fine. It washed, it dried in 2.5 hours just fine. Had no issues whatsoever. I have seen some comments of people complaining that somehow this thing takes over 5 hours to wash and to dry. There's 3 reasons for that. First reason is maybe you need to update the software. So I highly recommend going into your app on your phone and updating the software. 2, it might be that you are just overloading this machine. Like if you have it full to the brim, even then, I'm gonna take that back. Even if you have this thing full to the brim, it should not take 5 hours to complete a cycle. I did a test on one of my other social medias where I actually filled this thing with like over 20 pounds of laundry, and it's still completed in 2.5 hours. So I would gear that more towards the software issues with this. And the third reason why that your washer dryer combo takes 5 hours is because you don't even have this thing. You're using a different one, or you used one, 10 years ago and it took 5 hours, so you think this one does too. But yes, this is the GE Profile washer dryer combo, and it does not take 3, 4, 5 hours. Trust me, I have used this thing for over 6 weeks without a hitch. This thing has been absolutely amazing. All right, next question is this thing really ventless, and where does all the lint and everything go? So yes, this thing is ventless. They're like similar to ones you would find on an RV, which of course I still have to cap this thing off. I keep forgetting about it. I did cap off the gas line. Thank you to all of you that were fearing for my safety, because I spent like 4 hours without a cap on the gas line. But yes, there's no vent. So what this thing does is, so compared to a traditional dryer, which takes all that high heat and just vents it back up into the atmosphere, this thing, via the heat pump that's roughly right here, it takes all that heat and re-puts it back into the drum, which dries your clothes not only faster, but also much more efficient. And so going on to the second part of this, where does all the lint and everything go? So there's two places. So a lot of the more wet, like heavier stuff, is actually in a filter that's down here. I just cleaned that, empty it out once. I've done it once so far, and there was just a little bit of dog hair in there, which, yeah, I feel like I'm gonna rant here, but for those of you, if you have dogs, this thing is amazing. I have two, black shedding dogs, and this thing is awesome. I've had no worries about, getting on my clothes or anything. But either the filter that's down here or the lint trap, let's turn this off. Whew, speaking of the dog hair, that's what I'm talking about. That's all Lucian's dog hair. But yep, you can just take this thing out, and here's the lint trap. You just scoop it up as normal, and then you can just throw it into the trash. I'm gonna get some of that out. Of course, my garbage can's missing. I think I took it out, but yep, then all you have to do is just put it right back in, and you're good to go. When you do take it out, it will send you a notification like, hey, clean out the lint trap, and then it'll just tell you to acknowledge whether you've done it or not. But yep, that answers everything for that. All right, next is, can you use a pedestal with this? And the answer is yes. So GE does make a pedestal for this thing. It is a 7-inch riser. I highly do recommend purchasing them together, because this thing is heavy. This thing weighs over 300 pounds. So if you buy this afterwards and try to, lift it yourself to get under there, that's not happening. So really, the delivery people are just gonna have to deliver this thing with the pedestal. Like I said, it's a 7-inch riser, and it just, raises it up a bit. Because I know some people do complain that this drum is kind of low to the ground, which I do admit, but it's not that's big of a deal for me. But if you got like, some serious back problems and you want to be bending down to do that, I totally understand. The only downside is it does not have a drawer. A couple of friends of mine, they actually bought the pedestal with it, and yeah, it's literally, that's why I call it a riser versus a pedestal, because it raises it up. There's no drawer to store anything or anything like that. So a lot of people ask, can you use Tide Pods and scented beads? And yeah, of course you can. So what you just have to do, I actually use the scented beads myself, and you'll just as normal as a normal washer, you'll just throw them into the drum themselves. So this little tray here, this is for all of your liquid stuff. So this is for your, your liquid detergent. You can use powder if you want. All you have to do is just kind of flop this thing back to use powder detergent. For your bleach, for your fabric softeners and all that. But yeah, simple answer, yes, put them in there, not there. A lot of people have asked, is this thing loud? And the answer is no. This is actually the stealthiest washer dryer I've ever owned. If you can't tell right now, it's actually on. It is currently drying my clothes. I just threw it in, I threw some stuff in on a quick dry cycle just so you could kind of hear it, but yeah, this is really it. Like really the loudest parts you're ever gonna hear is maybe if this thing's spinning at full RPM, or if it's draining through that drain hose that's right there as I zoomed in for you. Because yeah, that's where all the water goes, through the drain hose. But yeah, loud at all, super stealthy. I know a lot of people are curious, just how much does it cost electricity-wise to do a load of laundry? Which, that's a great question. I know it's difficult to see. I tried to move for you, but that little white box back there, that's actually an electricity meter, just because people kept asking. So I figure I bought that off of Amazon to show everyone. But to do 1 2-hour load of laundry, it uses 1.21 kilowatt hours worth of energy, which for my electricity costs here, that equates to roughly 16 cents-ish, which that's not bad. 16 cents to do a load of laundry. Of course, that's going to vary state by state, just because each state charges different amounts for electricity. But on average, expect that much electricity usage for this machine. All right, next question is, where can I buy this and how much? So you can buy this. It's only available in the US. I know a lot of my Canadian friends up to the north are dying to get their hands on this thing. I'm actually working with GE directly to kind of expedite that there, but just be patient. I'm working on it just for you. But for us here in the US, you can buy this thing from Best Buy, from Lowe's, Depot, at any appliance store really. It's pretty readily available anywhere. And as for the cost, it really depends. So the original MSRP on this thing is $2,899, which I do know is a little bit pricey, but I've seen it on sale around the holidays for as little as $1,899. And also for some of us that are, active duty military, I know Home Depot does a military discount as well. So people have gotten this thing a lot cheaper than, the $28.99 price, $3,000 or anything like. People have gotten it for a lot less than this. Some in the crowd have asked, why does this thing need an app and why does it need to connect to Wi-Fi? Well, for a couple of reasons. So in regards to it connecting to Wi-Fi, it's so your washer dryer combo can receive software updates. Say that later down the road there's a software flaw discovered. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's technology, stuff happens. It allows to push software updates, and those software updates will allow your machine to operate at its max efficiency. So if GE discovers, later, like, hey, we found a way to make this thing even more electrically sound, it's going to push out a software update and make that happen. And reason for the app. So the app is super convenient. I didn't think I would need an app for this thing, but honestly, it's just awesome because the app, not only does it tell me like, hey, here's how much time is left on the wash and dry cycle, it also lets me choose how much detergent or softener I want to use. I keep it on the auto setting and I haven't looked back. I've yet to add detergent or softener into this machine. That's, as you can see, there's the status of how much detergent and fabric softener is left. I just threw the detergent into here and my softener into here. And that was literally the day I purchased the machine and I have not been happier. So for the final question, do your clothes come out damp? And that's I would say it's a complicated answer, but the answer is yes. Yes, they do come out damp, but it's only for a split second. So we'll I can pause it here. But yes, they do come out damp. And the reason for that is, so I actually read this directly verbatim from the owner's manual. And the big reason for that is, and it's only slight dampness. It's not like they come out soaked. It's because this is a completely sealed container. Unlike your dryer, which, vents up into the atmosphere, has all that, and it runs extremely hot, which, takes more electricity. This thing uses very minimal electricity, and then so your clothes, like I said, might come out with a slight dampness when you first open it, but all they say you have to do is just take your clothes out, give them a quick shake, and they're dry. And that's literally it. There is another option. It's called a more dry option. You can select that in the app or on the machine, and what that adds is an additional 15 minutes, and your clothes will have that more extreme dry feeling that you're used to. I don't use that just because that wastes more electricity, and I'm not about that right now. So the only example I could really think of to compare it to is I call it the shower analogy. So like when you're taking a shower, the bathroom door's closed and your bathroom completely fills up with steam and humidity and all that. It's kind of same concept with this. And then once you open the door, it doesn't stay wet in your bathroom. It eventually dries out and all that and everything returns to normal. That's what this thing is, but just on a, more advanced scale, and it's a lot quicker. But really, that's all I got for you. So that's the 10 most asked questions I've received about my GE Profile washer dryer combo. But hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it that solid thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, haven't yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. I have produced a few other videos about this thing as well, so feel free to go check them out. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See ya.